everybody. Welcome to another week of Just Gay Stuff podcast. We are coming at you from VHS in Wollongabba, and we have an amazing fucking guest for
Yes,
you
we do.
this week. Now, I had to write down this awesome little intro.
This will be good.
If you're cultured at all here in Brisbane or other parts of Australia, as she's just come back from a tour, today we've got a Queen's Ball Award winner, your hostess with the mostess, sounds like a tradie, looks like a lady, bang bang bitch, it's Bebe Gunn.
Thank you for having me, darlings. How excited I am to come and do gay things on Just Gay Stuff.
We love doing gay things.
We
It's
love
my
doing
favourite
gay things.
thing.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
We're all about doing gay things.
Yeah, I love gay shit. It's I mean, I make a living off gay shit,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it can't get any better.
No, it can't. Well, thank you for joining us
Yes,
today.
thank you.
Anytime.
Now, you've just come back from tour.
Yeah, we literally just got back off pretty much nearly 5 months straight.
Wow.
We've been touring our Shrek burlesque show. We can't actually technically say Shrek, I guess, probably shouldn't. Whoops.
But it's called
It's called
Swampless.
Swampless because we got
yeah.
sued. So yeah, we've been touring that all around the country. We did Perth Fringe at the start of the year. We went into Adelaide Fringe, and then we did all of the comedy festivals, Melbourne, Sydney, Perth as well. We went back to Perth again. We went to Kalgoorlie
Kalgoorlie.
in the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
Yeah, the men, I
Yeah.
tell you, loved them.
Yeah.
They loved me.
And you know, it's always the men in the little country towns that in the big world, they're like, oh, no, not for me.
I could never. And then you
could
turn the
never.
lights off, and I don't give two fucks. Girl.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, a drag queen.
Ooh, what's that? You can
I'll
wear
try
any
it.
hair colour I want? Ooh.
What size can you go?
Oh, babes, any size they want.
That's why they love you.
Amen.
That's why they love you.
That's why I love me too.
So Swamplesque, is this the first time you've been on tour?
No, we've been touring the show for nearly 5 years now. So we started in Perth in 2020, right before COVID hit.
Wow.
And then everything got shut down. We started doing it in Brisbane. We did a national tour in 2022 where we did 17 dates across the country. And we were really blessed to get to take something that's so ridiculous and turn it into something that so many people want us to ruin their childhoods, and I don't
Yeah.
fucking understand.
Yeah.
Like, if you want me to ruin your childhood, come on down.
People
but
have
otherwise,
trauma.
stay away.
Just swing you $200.
I
You'll
got
do
you.
it.
I'll ruin
Yeah.
anything for fucking $200.
So Swamplesque, you
Yes.
toured that. What else? Did you tour the Stripsons?
So we've been doing different things sort of everywhere. So with the Fringe circuit, what we do is when we go to Perth, we take our show Golden Hour, which is a variety show. It brings the best of sort of queer entertainers that we know and a couple of diversity higher straight people in there if we need them.
Yeah.
So Golden Hour, not Golden Shower.
No, no, we that'll cost more than $200. So no, we do Golden Hour over there, which is our 1 hour variety show for Perth Fringe, and then I did a little bit of work with the incredible company Briefs, which is an all-male circus and acrobat drag burlesque review, and that was just incredible. And then we moved into Adelaide where we did the Stripsons and Swamplesque. We did 2 weeks of Swamplesque, 1 week of Stripsons, and then 2 weeks of Swamplesque again. So if you need us to parody a different thing, we need like a third one. We need like the holy trinity of parodies.
What about
Oh.
Family Gay?
That's not about it. I wanted to do
Oh,
Titanic,
Family
and I just think it'd be funny to have someone come out as an iceberg and try and strip little bits of them off. Like, I just think that's really camp. So
You could call it Ty Sapphic.
we wanted to also do Monsters Kink.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
good one.
great.
Yeah, we had a good talk about that. So you never know what parody's going to come
Should
next.
put a
but
poll up.
yeah, I mean, there's been a few polls up a few places, but you know, we want to come up with a third one. We need like the Holy Trinity, like the Father, Son, and the Holy Daddy. You know, like we need
Yeah.
all of them. So I'm really hopeful we can come up with like a fun third one to put on tour next year or the year after or whenever the goddamn time we can find the time to make one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's bloody time consuming, babes, I tell you.
And how do you remember, like you said, you're going from 1 week doing one show to the next week doing another show. How do you manage that mentally and remember everything?
I don't manage much mentally. It's really good having my best friend, the door bitch, Maddie, on tour with us because she stage manages us. So pretty much I wake up in the morning, I look at her and I say, what am I doing today?
Yeah.
And she will just give me the full rundown. So, you know, absolute godsend.
That's
as far
Lauren
as that.
for me.
I was going to
Yeah.
say.
And so
yeah.
Lauren and I are partners, and
What?
Lauren had
Yeah.
to go back.
Two
know.
girls, hold
Yes,
on.
I
Wow,
know.
okay.
I
I don't know
know.
how I feel about that.
Lauren had to go back to our other house because we haven't U-hauled yet.
Okay.
And it's been
We're
a year.
We're
it's
very
been a
slack
year.
on the.
A year and no U-haul.
I know, we're very
Oh,
slack.
take away the lesbian cards.
I
What's going on
know.
here?
We're
To be fair, I live most of my time at your house. Though.
yeah, we're grasping that sapphic card, I think. It's a
Yeah.
bit different. I don't know.
Yeah, I love
Who
it.
knows?
Do you have a cat yet?
Lauren has a cat.
Boom, called
But
it.
I have 2 sausage
Called
dogs,
it.
the only sausages I like. So we can't introduce the pussy to the sausages. It just can't, it won't happen.
I mean, I think you might have to at some point if you're planning on the whole U-Haul situation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you have fun with that.
We will.
We will.
But what I was saying was, me managing my life by myself, Lauren grounds me so much. I'm like, okay, what are we doing today? Especially since the podcast, we've got 12 interviews in the next 2 weeks. And I'm just like, Lauren, what are we doing
Yeah,
today?
what's happening now?
So
I get
many
it.
things.
I
I had
totally
so
get
much
it.
anxiety while she was away. I was like, oh, kill me.
Yeah. Well, don't do that because she
No.
needs you to drive the U-Haul, babe.
I do.
So-
I do. I'm a
needs me to-
terrible driver.
Can you drive?
I can.
Can you both drive?
Yes.
That's uncommon for homosexuals. Well
know.
done.
But she does need
I was
me.
very slow and I'm terrible at
But
driving.
are your parents divorced?
Yeah.
Mine, one's passed away.
Oh,
so we'll
okay.
count that as a divorce.
You heard it here first, kids.
But Lauren will definitely need me to reverse the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah. She needs me to reverse her car out of the driveway most
Really?
days.
Yeah.
Babe, gotta go get some driving lessons.
I
Yeah.
do.
What's going on?
It was a cereal box.
I'll come over, you and me.
situation.
We'll do a driving course together. Where
Driving
I
with
just sit
drag.
in the I'll just sit in the passenger seat and scream bloody murder the whole time. Like I'll be so nervous and scared, and it will not help your anxiety
I
at
love
all.
it.
But it'll be fun.
It will be.
Driving
We've
in
got to make sure we
drag.
film
Yeah,
it.
it'll be camp. We'll have fun.
It'll be so good.
It would be so good.
Well, take us back to the
Yeah.
beginning.
Let's go to your coming out story so we can get a bit deep and personal.
Yeah, let's get deep.
I haven't gotten deep with anyone for a while, girls. So, look, my coming out story is probably like the quintessential, like making a series of unfortunate events
Oh.
into one day. So, I was living in the UK. My stepfather was in the army, or had been in the army for quite a while. And we went over there, and that's when I sort of had that queer awakening. And my best friend, Lucy, was a lesbian. And my friend, Kaylee, has now transitioned. So it was a very queer group of friends.
Yeah.
Lucy had a friend called Stephen, and she said, why don't you come out with us and we'll go meet him, and, we'll go after school and it'll be fun and we'll have a good time. But I was a real big nerd, so I didn't like lying to mum. I didn't like having to tell, stories. So I was like, just going out with some friends and I'll meet you at Tesco's afterwards and we'll do the shopping. I went out with my friend Lucy and met this boy, and they were all smoking, and I was, so nerdy. I was so scared and I didn't talk to anyone. I was just awkward. And then when I got to see mum, because I'd left because I didn't want to have to do smoking, and no, I can't. Fast forward. Anyway.
You've been cultured since.
Yeah. We'll call it culture.
Yeah.
So I got to the shops and my mum could smell the smoke on me, and she thought that I had blown her off to go and smoke cigarettes, and I was trying to be all edgy and cool with all the kids standing outside the library where we used to hang out. And, not really cool if you're standing outside a library, even if you are smoking at 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she then yells at me in the shop, and she's like, I knew you were doing this, and I knew you were trying to, do bad things. And in the middle of the shop, she looked at me and I said, it's not that. I just have feelings for boys. And her whole demeanor sort of changed, and we didn't really talk. We got in the car. Then I said it again, thinking she hadn't heard me. But when you're screaming in a bloody supermarket,
In a
everyone can
Tesco.
fucking hear you.
Yeah.
So I say it again, and that's when she starts crying. And pro tip, kids, never come out in a fucking moving car. Problem number one. Problem number one was lying to mum, because your mum always fucking knows.
Oh, yeah.
She has those eyes on the back of her
bitch,
head.
She knows. She knew. So then she was crying, and she said, God has better things planned for you. And that was the moment that my heart sort of dropped and went, okay, if I want to be exactly who I am, I'm going to need to make some accommodations now, which was, mum's going to grieve. Maybe I don't feel this way. Maybe I need to follow what she's saying. So I sort of rescinded it, and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm just confused. And that turned into coming out again at 17 and then again at 18. So I had to come out like 3 or 4 times before mum really got it. But it was a very interesting experience going from never really having any queer involvement to just seeing queer people for the first time in a public setting and wanting to be a part of it, and then trying to straight away tell my family. And if I was smart about it, I probably would have given it a bit more time, let myself understand more about myself, so that when I did come out, I could have said, no, I'm serious about this and this is who I am. And I think that would have saved a couple years of really like tumultuous grief and anger and misunderstanding.
Yeah.
I think all queer people go through that thing with their families where the life they thought you would lead, you don't lead in their minds after you come out as queer.
Yeah.
So to be able now to live a life that's so full of queer joy and my family, I think I'm very lucky, because mum very much came around, and now I put her in drag once a year and you know, my little nephews, my sister's children help me put my makeup on now, and it's such an accepting environment, but it wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
You know?
And what do you think got them to that place?
I think good people are always going to be good people.
Yeah.
And I think that you can always count on the fact that your family sooner or later will unreservedly love and support you, but it does happen on their own schedule, which is hard to try and navigate that as a younger queer person. You need to realize that it feels like if you don't come out right now, the whole world's going to burn down, but the world's going to be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you need to give yourself the time to understand who you are, and your family the time to maybe reintroduce themselves to you and show you that they can be good allies as well.
Yeah. We find it can come down a lot of the time to education as well, especially certain generations have never been exposed to queer culture.
Yeah, I haven't exposed myself to many older people, so
Yeah.
you've got to keep it sexy.
Yes. Well, and that's, I guess, a part of why
That's what we do,
doing the
You
podcast as
expose
well.
yourself to older people.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't been sued yet.
Oh, good. There's always time.
It's coming. Something's always coming. But we think that with education and with storytelling, so people telling their stories, the people that we can reach that aren't in the queer community might finally go, oh, this person is just a person like me with their own stories and their own expression and their own, you know, background of where they've come from. And so if we can educate just one person outside so that when they meet a queer person on the street, they don't treat them any differently.
It's just turning people into allies.
That's what it is.
Slowly and surely. Every life that you come into contact that doesn't understand you, where you can befriend them or help them, I mean, not even become friends, just understand each other more.
Yeah.
That person then becomes an ally for our community and becomes, I think, a better ally for most communities, because being entrenched in queer culture, there's a lot of intersectionality that happens between feminism and between issues of people of colour, face, and all these different issues with gender and all the stuff going on with trans kids. Just by involving yourself with one queer person, you will be educated on so many different things.
Yeah.
We're not Bibles for everything, Lord
No.
knows, but I feel that most queer people are across a lot of social justice issues. So it does help not only understanding queer people, but just a range of things.
Definitely.
Yeah, it does. I think we're very fortunate. We have had like parents reach out to us and say, thank you so much for doing this podcast. I understand my child now.
Yeah.
And one thing that we've talked about recently was heterosexuality is a sexual orientation.
It is.
It's
Why we
just
never
an
talk about that?
Yeah,
It
exactly.
totally is.
So we were talking about that the other day, and we're just like, under this umbrella of orientations, heterosexuality is there. We're not trying to segregate further.
No.
We're trying to just say, hey, we all have an orientation.
Yeah, but look, controversial kids, strap yourselves in. I think, and this is just a me thing, if you don't agree, I don't know, go fuck yourself. I think that there is such joy and beauty in the queer community being for queer people.
Yeah.
Allies are lovely, but the second someone looks at me and says the S or the A means straight or ally, you lose me. Because we as queer people do have culture, and we do have beautiful and vibrant community that I don't want to try and quote unquote exclude people from, but there's got to be a beauty in celebrating with other queer people our queer culture that only we completely understand.
Yeah, that's very true.
You know, sorry mum, you don't get it. But I just want queer people to be able to live unapologetically and be accepted for who they are, but also inside of our own community we need to be able to celebrate that for us as well.
Still have that like exclusivity in certain aspects.
Exclusivity is a hard word, I think, to use with it, only because I worry that then straights go, well, they want us to accept them, but they won't accept us.
Yeah.
I think that we all need to be able to live harmoniously, and in these communities that we live in, there's always going to be people of different mindset, background, race, religion, colour, creed, whatever you want to call it. When you can fellowship with other queer people, to use a church term, watch out, come and flee the church, to use fellowship as a word, to come together, to share stories, to do these things amongst just queer people, that's also super important.
Yeah.
And I worry that it gets a little bit watered down by constantly and consistently having to... My job as a leader in my community is also to educate, and I take it very seriously, and I will do it. But to constantly have to educate, it gets exhausting.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
So also boobs. Sorry. There we go.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
Show me more.
She's all for the boobs.
Yeah.
I am.
So it's just, I just feel like sometimes I lose queer people sometimes when we involve, we go, well, we need to involve the allies and this and that. Well, sometimes it's okay if it's just us. Under the umbrella of sexuality, we still include heterosexuality, as you said before. I think at some point this is allowed to be for us, and that's not bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I've never really thought about it in that sense of different cultures have things just for them and their experience that is exclusive to them.
100%.
And we are allowed to celebrate that as ourselves. And allies are great, as you said.
Incredible.
We can't
do this without them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
We come from allies.
Yep.
Literally.
Hopefully.
Well, no social cultural group can proceed without the help of those around them.
Exactly.
Going back to when you were coming out as a kid, do you look back now as an adult and go, those things before I met Steve, before I went to my queer friends, were there any light bulb moments that you said or thought about that led to who you are?
I think always as queer people, we identify very heavily with pop culture.
Yeah.
I feel like just watching different things that were kind of queer coded in a way. Like we all grew up knowing that She-Go from Kim Possible was a raging lesbian.
Okay. Sorry. I have to get into this.
Okay, I tapped into something there if I want that known.
Because Jess gets up me every time because we had a thing about like celebrity crushes and stuff. And I will ask you this in the next thing afterwards. But because you said She-Go, and she was like, how can you be attracted to She-Go?
Bitch, how can you not be?
Yeah.
She-Go's gorgeous, okay? She-Go, incredibly gorgeous. She had one lip and I was like, give it to me, bitch. You better fucking work. I loved her.
She had one lip.
She did. It was just
It
that
was the
black
one
sort
black
of
lip,
just
yeah.
one black. Kim Possible had one lip. We all fucking loved her. This is the thing.
It was very queer coded.
Very queer coded. Very. And even if as a queer kid, it's not technically queer coded. You make up the story yourself. You find something in that. Because bloody hell, I would grow up watching people dance around the topic and that queer codes things. But then I also grew up in the age where Big Brother was huge.
Yeah.
And Dave, the farmer from Big Brother, he came out by saying, and I'll never forget it because I haven't watched it in years and I said I'll never forget it, but watch me butcher it. I think he sat in front of everyone and said, if I was to go speed dating, I wouldn't go speed dating if there were girls on the other side of the table. It would be boys on the other side of the table. And I didn't understand what that meant because I didn't even understand the premise of dating. I didn't know that what was happening to me looking at characters that looked different or men that even danced around saying, I am gay.
Yeah.
You know, it was there, but I never put the two pieces together really, you know? I never was able to really put those puzzle pieces together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you spoke briefly on like that representation for you a little bit with obviously She-Go. We just had that massive.
You had a visceral reaction to that, but you were like,
I was like, calm down.
If there was a table here.
I know what's happening here after this. You're going to go print out a picture of She-Go. You're going to wear it on your face, Jess. It's game over.
That's okay. Just poke the eyes out so I can see.
No one call them for a couple days. They'll be busy.
We haven't seen each other for a while, so probably.
There you go.
I mean...
This is great.
But in speaking on that, obviously you touched on that and touched on Farmer Dave. Was there any sort of other representation that you found growing up or not
There
so
was
much?
ones I made up myself in my own head, 100%.
Yeah.
Before I came out, there was a few things that I watched and I was like, I am attracted to that. Hercules before he got buff. I know it's controversial. I thought Teen Hercules was my 8-year-old crush. When he's in the start of the movie and he's all awkward and he's a redhead, oh my God, it's all I've dated my whole life now. And then the other big one for me was Channing Tatum in the She's the Man movie.
Yeah.
Because he had no shirt on a lot and there was locker rooms in that. And I was like, why am I feeling things?
Yeah.
And then obviously growing up, then you realize, oh, okay, that's what's
That's
happened.
why.
But you never I didn't know that that's what was going on. Like I had zero idea other than Farmer Dave saying he wanted to sit on a table opposite boys. I didn't know you could be in relationships with boys. And, you know, I was born in Wagga.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
I went from Wagga to Townsville and then Townsville to an army base in regional Victoria.
Yeah.
Like up until I moved to the UK, I was not in very high socioeconomic areas with a lot of diversity. Like we had one person of colour at our whole school and their parents ran the Chinese takeaway shop and it was like a joke to some people.
Yeah.
Like we didn't understand diversity. We didn't understand other ways of thinking. And I was always outcast because whilst I didn't know there was another way of thinking, I just couldn't subscribe to what I was seeing. But without the education, like you were saying before, you can't put those pieces together. You're never going to understand it. So representation can be right in front of you, but unless it's visible in a way that is explicitly saying what it is, it's never going to matter. I saw Farmer Dave on the TV in 2004. I didn't come out until 2008, 9, because it took me that long to figure out what he meant. If they had said, I am gay, I kiss boys, I am a man who is interested in relationships with other men, then maybe the representation that I saw would have impacted me more. I would have come out earlier. I would have had more understanding or education around it. I had no fucking clue. I still don't really have any fucking clue. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think that's what I like to go back because I came out a little bit later on as well. And I was like, oh, those are the light bulb moments I was having back then. And then I'm like, oh, that's what that meant now.
Yeah, you came out in your 20s.
26.
Yeah,
Really?
that's late.
26.
You're like a day over 25, babes.
I'm 30.
You're not.
I am.
Oh, look at you. I have my glasses on, everyone. So.
I'm 33.
You're not.
I am.
Fucking good shit,
I'm just here for the
babe.
compliments,
Yeah,
thanks.
good job. You've done well.
Yeah.
Who's your Botox guy?
It's the Asian genes, actually.
Oh,
yeah.
well, I mean, they're
Yeah.
black, so.
I was going to say something then, but it might not be appropriate, even though we're very raw. Okay, let's talk about who you are now. So what was the introduction to drag?
So I used to go to the beat religiously when I was 18.
Didn't we all?
We all did. And I used to go there when I was 18 and I would watch the drag queens. The very first drag queen I ever saw, her name was Medea Monroe. And Medea and I have ended up becoming the closest of friends. She has become my mentor, my drag mother. She does all my wigs for me. She does
That's
so much for me. So
awesome.
she was my introduction into understanding what drag was. But she was not my introduction into doing it for the first time. I had a different person that mentored me to begin with. And we went our separate ways. And I think that when you first come into a queer situation, you surround yourself with anybody that you can identify your feelings with. I knew I was queer. This person was queer. They wanted to be my friend. That was enough for me.
Yeah.
But I think that it does also lead you down a path where sometimes you don't develop strong relationships with those people because you don't know what they're after. You don't know why they're keeping you around. You don't know, you know. So Medea was really a saving grace for me, watching her every single night at the beat. And then after I started drag, she really took a heavy hand in helping me when she realized I was kind of out here on my own trying to just figure it out. And drag really allowed me, everyone talks about how it like saves their life and changes their life and all these things. And I don't think that's untrue, but it's not just saved my life or changed my life. This is my entire being.
It
Yeah.
is your life.
I don't think that my life hasn't been saved by it. My life hasn't been just changed by it. I have become like this entity that houses a crazy woman inside them.
You have essentially completely evolved.
Yeah, this is my human form.
Yeah.
If when I take this off, I do not feel like myself. You know, so the start of it was beautiful because you're allowed to just experiment and have fun. And, you know, everyone judges baby queens because it's fun. But I grew up in a time of drag that was very different. So the culture that we have now versus then, just two really sort of yin and yang juxtaposing positions. Because back then it was very I mean, you'll remember back here, 15 years ago, it was fucking banging in there still. You could get fucking $2 vodka Red Bulls, and that's why I have a heart condition now. So like you could really go for it, and it was such a beautiful environment, and clubbing just took a real downturn. But back then the drag community was very was the old guard, and you had to prove yourself and pay your dues and do all of these things, and now it's a lot nicer and calmer and more chill. So I'm glad I had someone like Medea when I first started to really guide me into what being a drag queen is.
Yeah. So, that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you think that drag culture has changed because it's had more exposure now?
I think I'm one of the last generation to begin drag before I really knew what the world was seeing.
Yeah.
I started drag before I had ever watched RuPaul's Drag Race. I didn't know it existed. And then when I started into my first year of drag was when I found it. And I'll never forget, I was watching season 5, Jinx Monsoon season, with Shani T-Bone, Brisbane drag legend, icon, royalty. And I was just religiously quoting things at her to make her laugh. And she said, do you want to be a carbon copy of what you're seeing on the TV, or do you want to be uniquely yourself? And these days, I think the girls see what's on Drag Race and they form, it's like all pop culture. It's the things we wear, the things we do, like pop culture is going to influence who we become. But when it's your job to create a character, that character needs to be unique. And by I think in some ways overexposure of drag in the mainstream, it made it harder to create unique concepts because people were just doing what they saw.
That's very true. Yeah. Controversial statement.
Tell me.
So,
You ready?
I've been to drag brunch a bunch of times.
No.
And I've heard you say on there that you've tried out for RuPaul's Drag Race a bunch of times. And I think it's a crime that you haven't fucking been on there.
Yeah, it is a crime.
Thank you.
But do you think in the grand scheme of Australian drag that by watching the Australian seasons, Australian drag culture is being represented correctly?
So look, I watched season 1 under sufferance because I was upset that I didn't get on. I think anybody's going to be upset, but the reason I watched it was because there were so many of my dear sisters that I've known forever that got on, that I love. Season 2, very much the same. Season 3, I knew a lot of the girls. I've known so many of the girls that are on, and that's why I've watched it. It's been difficult to engage with the subject matter because I haven't loved the way that the world has looked upon our drag. The girls that have been cast, the 20 or so girls, or 30 or so girls that have been cast on this show, supremely talented.
Yeah.
Pretty much every single one of them I have seen live, and they are all the most incredible drag performers. They are party girls, ballad girls, artsy girls, whatever they do it very well. And I wish that the world got to see those 30 drag performers like I've seen them. Because they are the most insanely talented and incredible people. And that's my concern moving forward with Drag Race in Australia is I don't feel that it has accurately encapsulated Australian drag. The girls have done their absolute best to show who we are. And I could not be more proud of so many of these girls, a lot of whom I called very dear sisters. I just wish that production really ran with the Aussie aspect. What we do over here is unique and it's special. You've been to Drag Brunch, you see what that sort of thing's like. None of the Drag Brunch girls that I worked with have ever been on RuPaul's Drag Race, but we created a unique experience that is unlike any other experience that you would have either in Australia or out of it. I want people to experience that majesty of Australian drag, the ochre, the couldn't give two fucks, having a dab with everyone in the fucking smokers, I miss those larrikin moments.
It's like super raw drag.
Right. I just want to get vulnerable, but I also want them to treat it with the respect of understanding our drag culture. But here we are.
As just a consumer of drag, I even felt like, because I'd been going to drag brunch before Drag Race Down Under came out. My first instinct was Bebe Gunn is going to be on this show.
Literally.
And that's why I'm going to watch. And then you weren't on the show.
I wasn't.
And I was disappointed for you.
Yeah.
And then I was more disappointed when you said that you had tried out because I thought you clearly didn't try out. That's why.
No, look, it's reality TV. They cast for, they not only cast for talent, which they 100% cast for talent looking at who they've cast. They also cast for characters.
Yes.
And you need to fit a role, and they can't have too many of a certain role. And I have had to work on releasing a lot of the feelings I had around that, because I never wanted to be the girl that goes, oh, well, fuck, I didn't get on, fuck everyone else, fuck this, fuck that. You need to still be supportive of your community.
Yeah.
And in ways I've done a poor job of that. I think when everyone goes through these situations that they've never been through before, they're going to make decisions or say things that they regret or they don't really mean. And I turn into a monster in drag competitions, and when there's any competitive nature, I become a complete monster. And me. And it's not fun for the people around me, and I'm cognizant to that. So I worked really hard on not making that my story, and I didn't audition for season 4. I just didn't feel like it was right for me after the healing that I had done. And I just wanted to be, happy for my friends that did. And unfortunately, everyone thought that I was lying and that I was just like saying, no, I didn't audition. This year, I just didn't audition. And
we'll make that known.
Yeah,
we'll make it known.
yeah.
Bebe didn't audition.
I didn't actually audition this year because the piece that I have found, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't put a price on that. I also was touring. I didn't want to let down my family who I tour with that I really wanted to be there for. And I needed to step up for them. So I chose to step up for the people that understand me, my drag, the person I am and who I want to be.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was a bad choice. But I also am supremely, supremely proud of, the girls that are about to be superstars.
Yeah,
that I've known for years, that I do hold very dear. And I do really hope that this coming season is different and is done well, because the girls that are on it that I know really deserve more than anything to be showcased. These are our girls and they deserve it.
Yeah.
So I want to see it. Make it happen.
We'll support
World Wonder.
them.
I think speaking as like that consumer of drag and seeing you perform in Brisbane and having watched the US versions of the show and the UK versions and all that, coming into Drag Race, even as the consumer, I didn't think that the show lived up to what I'd seen in person. Even from people that weren't on the show, as you were saying, you've seen all these performers live and you're saying they're being misrepresented essentially, or our drag is not getting to the core.
Yeah, misrepresented is one way to put it, but I hope that, I don't know if I've said misrepresented yet, but I understand where you're going with it. I think I'm more mean. World of Wonder haven't taken the time to understand our culture of drag, and it means that the girls going on there have to play a part of some Americanized version of who we are to go further, because that will make RuPaul laugh. That will make Michelle Visage laugh.
Yeah.
And I've seen hilarious Aussie jokes on that show that got zero reaction from the people that are in charge. So I really hope that, with Michelle taking over, I'm not sure if you saw, Ru's not doing this season and Michelle's taking over. I know that there will, there's some fun judges that are going to be on there that will understand our way of drag. So I'm really hopeful that this is the one. This is the season. Watch it.
Yeah. Did you ever have like fear that if you were to get on that show that you would not be received the way that you are in person?
Oh yeah, I'm a natural villain.
Yeah.
I'm a natural asshole. And I'll admit it. I think I'm difficult sometimes to get along with in a work setting because I want to be the best version of myself so hard. I make it difficult to give that spotlight to other people.
Yeah.
Therapy.
I was going to say, does that come from your competitiveness?
It does, 100%. I had to, growing up, I always had to scratch and claw and fight. And I feel like in ways now that I've made it, quote unquote, in drag, I still am fighting and clawing and scratching for no reason. There's no reason to keep fighting as hard as I am, but it's in my nature to keep pushing.
Yeah.
And I think that makes me ambitious and driven, but it also is such a drawback when I look at other people getting these opportunities. It's not what I haven't done. What am I not? When people go, why isn't it me? Because what don't I have?
Yeah.
It's not that for me. For me, it's what more can I be so then they see it.
Yeah.
And that was what took me down the bad rabbit hole of going like, holy shit, what more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do? I just have to be myself.
Yeah.
And it's so cliched, isn't it? You just have to be you, which is terrible because naturally I think I'm unlikable. But, I in general, I've worked incredibly hard to become comfortable with who I am.
Yeah.
Inside of drag and out of drag, and God, it's a fucking process. So don't put me in any competitions.
I think that is one of the biggest hurdles that we come up against in life, though, is comparison to other people.
Yeah.
We're always searching for that next thing. And like you said, it's not always, why is it not me? It's just always, what next can I do to level up?
Yeah, which is terrible because I feel like that's all I'm doing. It feels like I moved into the burlesque space to try and do a bit more of that, to try and, enhance my character. I moved into emceeing more. I moved into doing all of these things that I feel are such natural fits for reality television. But I just keep saying to myself, if I'm not going to get on Drag Race, I'll just be the most successful non-Drag Race girl.
Yeah.
You know?
You already are that.
I was going to say
thank
you are that.
There's so many other incredible drag performers in Brisbane, let alone the country, that do the most incredible things that I still look up to as people that I could, I never view myself as being that person. I don't think I ever will, but I think that's what drives me to keep going.
Yeah.
I don't need to be better than anybody else. I just need to be the best I can for myself.
Yeah.
I think that gets lost in translation when I get competitive, because people think I'm getting competitive so they do worse than me. But it's just so I light that fire under myself to do better than I know that I can. I don't want to walk off the stage and go, well, fuck, I know I could have done better with that,
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person. I want to know I went out there, I gave it 150%, and then I can get in my car afterwards and then I can cry about it,
Yeah,
exactly.
Which is common. I'm Bridget Jones' Diary fucking all by myself bawling in the pouring rain.
Therapeutic.
Babe, you have no idea.
What song's playing while you're
Babes,
bawling?
honestly, most of the time it's just me calling people being like, do you think I did a good job tonight? Like it's
Validate
it's
me.
ugly crying. Ugly crying. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
One more serious topic that I want to talk about is, I have heard you speak about when you're in drag, there seems to be this disconnect of respect between audience and performer. And you've spoken a lot about maybe men go up and grope you and disrespect you. Can we have that conversation?
Oh, yeah, we can.
Because I think a lot of people don't think about that. They think, oh, this person is in a costume and they're performing for me and I can do whatever the fuck I want. So
This is your trigger warning now, kids.
Let's educate.
This is your trigger warning. I'm giving you the out right now. If you don't want to hear about it, then skip forward a bit, but don't go nowhere. I, through my whole life, have been a victim of sexual assault since I was a child. So I was 7 years old. And I have been put in situations that no child should be. I've been put in situations like adults should be. So then when I get dressed up like this, and this is my armor, this is my mask or my whatever it is you want to call it, that gives me the power to authentically be myself, for people to try, because no one's successfully try and take it from me. No one will successfully take that from me, but people do try to step a boundary or a line, and crowds' misunderstanding of I paid my money, I can do whatever I want, versus, I mean, you wouldn't go to fucking Wicked and get up midway, walk up to the stage and rip Glinda's dress off her.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
You just wouldn't.
No.
Even when you see them outside, I feel like most people would keep a distance and go, wow, you were incredible.
Yeah.
They become untouchable to you because they're having this one-way form of communication. It's like when you meet a celebrity that you've watched on TV forever. You feel like you know them because they've been talking to you through a TV for years. They have no fucking clue who you are. When I'm on a stage and I have a microphone, I might be looking directly at you. I'm having a conversation with
Everyone.
hundreds of people at the same time. Just because I'm looking at you doesn't mean this is a one-on-one experience. When people view it as a one-on-one experience and then they come to me and not only do they trauma dump, oh my God, fuck me. If you ever see a drag queen in person and you start talking about how someone died a couple years ago and they saved your life, don't. Close your mouth, zip it, lock it, throw away the key into the ocean, fucking Titanic heart of the ocean bullshit. Don't do it. We are not therapists. I'm not Dr. Phil. I have hair under this. It's the emotional dumping, and then it's the people that will just come up and grab every inch of you. Oh, is this real? Is that real? They'll get a photo. There was one time someone got into my stockings through my costume. It's not only uncomfortable, but it makes it untenable for me to do my job because of my past bullshit that I've gone through with, being a kid that went through sexual assault. I go straight back to being 7 years old. I become a child and I can't deal with it and I shut down. And my job is to help people forget about their troubles for however long. know, at Drag Brunch, it was 4.5 hours of me having to be on the whole time, and no one could rip me out of that moment. And I had to play a character. Like, you probably think me sitting here now different to how I am on that microphone.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like I'm more aggressive. I'm more comedic. It's like stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Wearing a wig. Because I have to be that person in front of people I don't know because they're going to touch me.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of like, oh, maybe they won't this time. No, someone will. Someone will do it. Someone won't ask consent. Even if you're touching something on someone that you don't deem as real, this is as real as I get to myself.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Do not do it. And consent has been something even our community has struggled with for a long time. And not one single person watching this or sitting here or anything has not crossed a consent boundary. Everyone has done it at some point or another. It is our jobs to learn, to grow, and to be better, and to make sure we don't do it again.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I feel straight audiences don't super understand that as a premise.
Yep.
Because they are taught boys will be boys, do whatever you want, girls let it go, let it go. The queer community, there's a lot more of a feminist movement that does hinge on the respect of women in queer spaces, which has historically been lacking.
Yeah.
The misogyny by gay men has made it difficult because they feel entitled to women's bodies. They will grab boobs. I'm sure both of you have experienced, out clubbing, a gay man walks up and just grabs a boob. It's disgusting. And I've been guilty of it. I've done it. And now, not saying that you can just say, oh, can I grab your tits, and that's consent, but you need to make sure you have a relationship with that person that it's not going to impact them later on.
Yeah.
All of our decisions may impact someone later on, so it's our job to make the best decisions we can. So things like the disconnect between respect of performers in my industry and a theatre industry can be bridged, and we're treated more like the serious artists that we are. Jess, you came to Drag Brunch.
Yeah.
Lauren, you came to Drag Brunch. You both saw what I did up there was a character and was a journey and storytelling and drag and burlesque and, stand-up and all the bullshit that we do.
Yeah.
That's artful. Yeah. And I would put that 4.5 hours of entertainment up against anything you could go to, and I would hedge a bet that I'd be myself, Lulu, Maddie, Kyle, all our team that was there. We were the people that will keep you entertained. We deserve your respect. We don't deserve to be treated like pieces of meat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unless you're paying me.
I think there is a general disconnect between certain art forms though. So like, obviously what you're doing is not the same as painting a painting, but would someone of an audience go up to that painting and smear it when it's done?
That is such a good analogy,
Yeah.
babes. We always say, handle us like you would a doll in a museum, with gloves and from a distance.
Yeah.
So, we want to be admired. You can. This is the thing. Parents just always say to the kids, you can look with your eyes.
But don't touch.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that premise hasn't graced the minds of adults yet that are saying it to their children.
Look with your eyes, not with your hands. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think as well, I play music for a living, so we go out and perform, and it's the same thing. We have people come up to us, can I sing a song? It's like, is this your fucking show?
Yeah, fuck no. Sit the fuck down and be entertained.
Yeah. And there's one thing that always gets to me is that person walks away with a sour taste in their mouth because of your respect for yourself and your respect for your profession.
Correct.
And then it's like, you're left feeling like you're the bad person because they didn't get what they want.
Correct.
No, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, they need to have a respect of you as a performer, that this is a job. I always say, oh, why don't you go and ask the bartender if you can pour your next drink?
Yeah, I just normally tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
So it's not really like can I do this? No, fuck you. Get away. Get lost. I don't need to do this. My job is to entertain a room full of people, not just you.
Yeah.
I had a woman once try to pull me off the stage because I wouldn't give her what she wanted. What? She called me the N-word.
What?
Yeah, I was dressed. We were doing Kath and Kim, and she said, "Dance for me, you N-word monkey." And just because I wouldn't let her on the microphone.
Oh.
Don't be like her, everyone.
don't.
I have her name in my phone. I Googled her and I found her. And I've been waiting, Michelle, to out you. Michelle, I won't say your last name because you sue me, but Michelle.
Is it defamation if it's true?
I don't think it is, but I also think that she'd just say it didn't happen. I've got the security footage, Michelle.
You got the receipts.
I
yeah,
mean,
bitch.
There are other people that have recently come out saying that true things haven't happened, and let's see how that went for them.
Yeah, let's see.
Do we know who we're talking about?
I'm not saying anything.
Right, so before we wrap up, we have 2 more questions for you.
Hit me.
What's next for Bebe Gunn?
Yes.
I think I'm probably going to go home, have a smoke, lay down. You want to come? Look, I'm really blessed to get to share this news. It's an exclusive.
Oh, we're getting an exclusive.
I mean, and by exclusive, I mean I've told everyone I know. Swamplesk just signed our contract to be one of the headline shows for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in Scotland.
Wow.
So we're doing I think it's like 27 shows in 29 days.
Congratulations, that's amazing.
Yeah, which is huge. So the biggest fringe festival in the world. And we're
RuPaul's
in
Drag Race what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I just wanted to fill my life with joy and opportunity to be with the people that I love. So being able to take a show that is so dear to my heart that I've been in since the start, like only myself and our producer that plays. I'm trying to find a way to say the name of the character he plays in the Green Ogre. There you
yes,
go.
yeah.
He plays Green Ogre. We're the only 2 that have done the show every single show since the start. And we've had, others that have missed 1 or 2 and others that have joined us later on. But every single one of them is so dear to my heart. And to be able to get to experience the biggest fringe festival in the world, that is so important. And then, I think after that, I'm going to allow myself some rest.
Yeah.
That's a good
I'm
idea.
going to give myself the self-care that I deserve. And I'm just going to, I'm like a little hermit crab. I like to just escape into my little cave and then come back out when I'm ready. But my friends know when to pull me back out of the cave. So I think I just need to realize that I've traveled all year. I've been home for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I need the rest and I need to revitalize myself. But then I've also got a wonderful booking to go back over to Perth and host the Perth International Burlesque Festival.
I did just see that.
Which is, so much fun with some, and I couldn't believe it when they announced me. I'm up there with the headliners and I'm like, oh, I'm just coming to talk shit in the microphone. Like, so it's I'm very blessed to have wonderful friends that believe in what I do and will afford me opportunities like that. So Swamplesk in Edinburgh, the Perth International Burlesque Festival. I'll do a couple more gigs when I get back, and then I'm going to take Christmas off, and I'm going to take New Year's off, and I might even, I'll fuck off to Hawaii and drink Mai Tais on the beach. I don't fucking know.
That sounds amazing.
It'll be lovely.
Lovely.
Yes.
It'll be lovely.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. So that's what's next, but what's on the bucket list? What is something that you want to have achieved in your lifetime? Knowing all the opportunities you've had so far and what's coming, what's the next thing?
Well,
that
see,
you'd
I've ticked
love?
off so many things this year.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to host for Briefs, which was one of the companies I looked up to so much when I was coming up in drag, and I got the opportunity to host 9 shows for them in Perth this year.
Wow.
I wanted to host the Perth International Burlesque Festival
Yeah,
that was
there you
announced
go.
yesterday. Just these, I wanted to perform overseas, and that's coming
That's
up.
happening.
So I
That's
feel
amazing.
like my bucket list now is more like personal goals that have nothing to do with my career, because I'm doing all the things I want to do. I would really love to do a one-woman show.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, please.
I would really love to write that one-woman show and be able to let people just experience the demons that live inside my brain for a little while.
Yeah.
I would really, really love to get into doing some actual stand-up. I feel like everyone that came to
Yeah.
brunch was like, "You're doing stand-up," and I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm MCing."
But
and
you're fucking hilarious.
But in my mind,
Hilarious,
those are
yeah.
two really different things. In my mind, MCing is, just keeping the show going and telling a few jokes here and there. And what I realized is I've written a stand-up set and I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So I'd love to do some stand-up stuff. I just love to diversify myself in a way that I can take some time off putting the makeup on and still have an avenue to express myself. But I think the biggest bucket list item for me is reconnecting with myself in a way that allows me to reconnect with the people I love.
That's super important.
Yeah, I really feel like when you're on tour and you're living out of a suitcase and you're with the same 9 people the whole time, you become really close with those 9 people, but other people do fall by the wayside because you have to be so in that moment. Like, I'm performing 6 to 7 to 8 times a week, every
Yeah.
single day. I get Monday off, that's it, and that's a day I sleep the whole day. So being able to be present back here home with the people that I love and the friends that I have, I really want to do that, because that's just as important as being successful in drag is being with those people to me.
Definitely. And I think we as humans define success in so many different ways, but there's no doubt that that is absolute success for you.
Oh, fucking oath.
To have to find time to spend with your family and friends and take away from
Sorry, everyone.
touring
There's a
and-
person trying to get in the door, but he doesn't look sexy, so we're not letting him in. Bye.
It's not the
See
tradie we're
you.
after.
Is he? No, he's not hot. Is he? No, he's not. We figured it out.
BB's
Bye.
spoken.
Sorry, back
Success.
to the serious. Yeah.
We all define success in so many different ways, but there's no question that you are 100% successful in your own right. So,
Thank you, darling.
and no one take this as we were shitting on Drag Race. I
No.
love Drag Race, but
I was shitting on Drag Race. No, just if I leave with any thoughts, it's go and engage with Australian drag. Engage with your local girls, because fuck me, I've seen so many. I'm so blessed that I've gotten to host for Drag Race Girls. The crowds that show up for that, oh my god, incredible.
I saw you host for United King Dolls.
Oh, bitch, I killed it. That's the night I sat in the car afterwards and I cried.
Did you?
Yeah, I finished that show, and it was it was
at Princess Theatre with Lawrence Chaney, Ahura and Tace.
yes, because Bimini decided she wasn't doing drag for 3 weeks, and Crystal Versace
Didn't bring her passport.
She didn't bring her passport. Here's the tea. Crystal Versace showed up to the airport and was like, "Hi, my name's Luke. I'm getting on a plane." They're like, "Where's your passport?" She's like, "I don't have one."
Oh, no.
She just thought she could get on a plane. Oh, fuck, I live for that fucking bitch. Incredible. But like, I got to host that show, and straight after it, Lawrence Chaney said to me, like, this was good. And to have that validation from someone that had the validation from the show that I tried to get the validation from, that was a full circle moment.
Yeah.
And that was healing. And then I got in my car, I sat there, and I just cried. I called my friend and I just sat in the car and I cried and I said, I did such a good job.
You did.
Because for the first time, I was able to say, I didn't feel like I put a foot wrong. I didn't feel like, when you're in the zone?
Yeah.
I was in the zone,
in the zone
bitch.
the whole
and I was
fucking
feeling
time.
it. And I was feeling it. I still watch those videos.
Do you?
To feel happy.
Yeah.
The serotonin that I get from watching myself do things, oh, it's heaven.
When I
amazing.
sat in that show and saw you walk out on stage, I was like, fuck yes. And all I wanted,
Number one hype girl, right?
all I wanted as an audience member was for those queens to appreciate you.
And they did. They
The
were
way
the
that
nicest.
we
They were
appreciate
the nicest people I've ever worked with.
Aw.
So lovely, so nice, just kind, gentle. But that's, I mean, hot take while we leave. The UK Drag Race girls are the nicest Drag Race girls.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that anyone else isn't nice. I'm saying the UK girls, the nicest.
Yeah.
So,
I
but
think
still go and
You
see
can
Aussie
see
drag.
that kind of on the show, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different culture.
Yeah.
We have different cultures, and I wish that people would see, we know what the American culture is, we know what the UK culture is, because we've watched it. I don't think we could put a finger on what the Australian one is.
Not
and
yet.
that's my bucket list item is for Drag Race Down Under to do well.
Yeah.
Whether I'm on it or not.
Yeah.
Because we all make more money, we all get more bookings, so
Yeah.
fucking go nuts, girls, I believe in you.
And whether you're first voted out on that show, you've
You've
taken
made
that
it.
world stage.
Yeah, you've done it.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Some of the best drag queens I know are the drag queens that left too early in that show.
Yeah.
Morgan McMichaels, she was like 7th in her season. She's the greatest drag queen to ever exist.
She's amazing.
Yeah. If you don't believe me, you don't understand. Like, seriously.
you know.
This isn't just that she's the best as a person. People always come to me and go, she was a bitch, she was a cunt. And I'm like, girl, you need to meet her. She is the hardest working motherfucker I've ever met in my entire life. So,
She earned that cunt badge.
bitch, she did. She fucking did. We all wear our cunt badges with honour.
And pride.
Well, before we say goodbye, is there any advice that you could give to someone who wants to enter drag?
Don't.
There you go, Lauren. Don't enter drag.
Do you want to be a drag queen, Lauren?
No.
You don't. I mean, I think that, I'm just saying, Jess might make a good drag queen. She got.
Me?
She's done it before.
Yeah, you've done it before.
Oh, like we had a party once. And
This is the classic gay story,
It
everyone.
is.
Was
We
it
had a party.
Halloween?
No. It
Okay.
was literally just a birthday party.
All right.
It was pissing down rain. We went to Eat Street. Everyone who dressed up in drag got absolutely saturated. So as we walked in, it looked like everyone was crying, and that was hilarious. And I'm going to tell this story. I'm not sure if I'm allowed, but I'll tell it anyway. I won't mention any names. So that's a friend of ours invited his mum to come, and he was like, "Mum, you need to dress in drag." And she was like, "What's drag?" And he was like, "Oh, well, you usually would like dress as the opposite sex to what you are." She came dressed as Zorro.
And that, everybody, is how Jess met my mother. I wish I should have come to this dressed as Zorro. I feel like we should do this again
We'll do it
tomorrow
again.
with
We
me
will.
as Zorro.
We will.
Do it again.
Perfect. Look, the advice I have for anyone trying to get into drag is there's a couple points. I'll run through them as quick as I can. The first point is don't treat the drag queens like you see the other drag queens treat the drag queens. You're not part of the circle yet. You don't get to come in and tell us everything that we've done wrong and make jokes about us. You get to be respectful, and it's something that I don't think that I did particularly well when I started, but it's the best advice is to just be as respectful as you can until you're friends with people and then be nasty to them because it's fun. But the second thing you need to understand is nobody in any stretch of the imagination expects you to have a new everything every time you leave the house. You need to invest in your drag if you want to be successful, and investing means a nice wig that you get styled up. It doesn't matter if you wear it 100 times. Keep it in good nick, clean the lace on it, make sure it's well taken care of, unlike all of my wigs. When your mother's a wig stylist, you don't need to worry. You just say, can you do this? And I just have 2 new wigs. It's heaven.
Amazing.
It's lovely. So then you don't have to have a new costume every time. You've just got to have a nice costume. You can get something off fucking Boohoo and put some rhinestones on it and it will look nicer than something you got made for you sometimes.
Yeah.
I have things from Boohoo that I wear. This right here is just a big caftan and you can't tell me shit. I feel like I look gorgeous.
You look
do.
$100.
I know, thank you. Just 100 apparently.
It's the Kath and Kim saying you look $100.
Oh no, I understood it. I'm still offended by it. And the third and most important thing I could ever tell another drag queen is learn how to perform for an audience. There are like Sasha Colby, incredible, and the audience love her. She's your favorite drag queen's favorite drag queen. I'm your best friend's favorite drag queen. I want to be the person your best friend goes, I know you love Drag Race. I know you love all those girls from Drag Race. I got someone to show you here that you're going to fucking love.
Yeah.
Be the audience's favorite drag queen. Like RuPaul, they say paying your bills, pay the bitches no mind. No, you have to pay everybody mind, but you have to choose who you perform for. I choose to perform for an audience, and I think that doesn't happen enough down to the song choices I make and the way I talk to people. I'm performing specifically just for them, and you have to, because that will give you a longevity in your career that people who are performing for just themselves or performing for just the other drag queens to make them, I call it popping the other drag queens, you make them pop.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, fucking work. That's important to me. It should be important to anyone, but it can't be the only thing. You have to realize the audience pay your bills. They bought the tickets. You got to perform for them.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful advice.
And clean your fucking lace.
Yeah.
I say having not cleaned my lace.
So that advice there, clean your lace.
Yeah, do whatever the fuck you
do
want,
as I
but make
say,
it
not as I do.
entertaining.
Yeah.
No, they say all drag is valid, but not all drag is entertaining. So fucking turn your pussies out. Fucking work hard. Let's go. Let's fucking make some magic.
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. So we hope that you have well and truly enjoyed this insane interview with Bebe Gunn.
I have.
It has been incredible to have you here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Anytime,
so
babes.
much.
It has been an absolute pleasure. We are so humbled.
I
and
got you.
low-key, you know that I'm a massive fan of yours.
Oh,
So,
thanks, babe.
so seeing you walk around the corner today, I had like a little anxiety
She
attack.
did. She was like, oh my God.
But it
I
was
did
amazing.
see Jess and I was like, oh, this bitch. Because
Yeah.
I actually did remember her, so.
I knew that was going to happen.
you did.
I anticipated that. So
Thank you so much.
we've been Jess and Lauren.
We have.
Just Gay Stuff podcast. We will see you next week. But before we go, remember to...
Stay gay, motherfucker.
Thank you so much.
I'm talking about, you're talking
Yay,
about,
friendship.
we're talking about just gay stuff.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Just Gay Stuff. Make sure to follow us at Just Gay Stuff Podcast on all your socials and write to us with your stories at justgaystuffpodcast@gmail.com.